Well, Wall Street has been sleeping on the Canadian energy sector. There's been a revolution brewing up here in the Great White North. And today I'm going to tell you all about it. And it starts by rewinding the clock, talking about the crash in 2014. At the time, we had a huge amount of new oil going online, and it just made Canadian tar sands oil uncompetitive. There was a negative market. It was an energy space that was really challenging for a lot of these companies. And according to Cinevis CEO John McKenzie, they had two choices: innovate or die. And let me just tell you, they absolutely chose innovation. Let's start off by talking about what I call the efficiency revolution, which is an industry-wide, sector-wide slashing of costs while boosting output. I mean, we're talking in the range of 40% cost reductions while increasing production. That is fantastic numbers, and it completely changes the unit economics for this industry. And we're seeing amazing game-changing technology like solvent-assisted SAGD that can extract oil sands crude at $35 a barrel, which is dramatically lower than any current price of crude oil, even the discounted Canadian one. And we're seeing even more innovation from this industry. There are some really, really talented people who are working in this space, making it even more efficient year on year. This revolution has more or less saved the industry from the really challenging times it went through in the latter half of the 2010s into the start of the 2020s. And even through all those tough times, while we saw stocks falling, companies struggling, we have seen a boost in production and reduction of costs. It's been fantastic. And that's going to pair really well with the next big change coming, the next revolution, which is the infrastructure revolution. And this super cycle really comes about with TMX, the Trans Mountain Expansion Pipeline, bringing a huge amount of Canadian crude to the Pacific Ocean. And I've seen estimates saying that it's bringing about $6 billion a year in free cash flow to the Canadian energy sector. This is just the beginning. We are in an unprecedented time of approval for Canadian pipelines and interest for Canadian pipelines from the government and from the population, which means as long as we can get a couple companies willing to bite the bullet, we could see game-changing revolutions in the Canadian oil and gas space. We've talked about this on the channel. I think it is absolutely critical that this happens for these companies. I think these companies jump on this opportunity, and I think investors should be watching because we're going to see some of these opportunities come about. And the real key here, the reason why this is important, is because of the differential between the price of Canadian crude and the global price, be that WTI or Brent. Canadian crude has always been discounted. If we can get pipes going in all directions, we could see an absolute change. And that's not even mentioning the massive infrastructure boom in LNG potential, which we've seen in the last couple of years, which is going to come online, which I think could also revolutionize the gas industry in Canada. But just focusing on oil, we get some of these pipes on the ground, even suggestions of these pipes, we're going to see massive boons to these companies because American producers can't possibly ask for a discounted price if these Canadian producers can now sell it to the European market, to the Pacific market. I think it's going to be a game changer. It's going to totally change these industries. Just to add some extra icing on the cake here, we have some fantastic cash flows going on in these companies right now. We're saying oil's at $75 a barrel. Suncor is making enough free cash flow a week to buy 2 private jets, and that's just Suncor. We're talking about massive amounts of cash flows for Canadian Natural, for Tourmaline, for Cinevis, for any of our big producers. And these companies have been using this cash to buy back shares, to pay huge dividends, to reward shareholders. And I want to focus on share buybacks here specifically. And there's a story, Tourmaline is planning on buying back an astronomical amount of shares. Like we're talking maybe over half the company, depending on price of the stock. We could see 10x investor returns just off of these shares being bought back and off of the free cash flow valuation of these companies. We're talking some of these companies trading in the 4s, maybe the 5s, but like that low single digit range of free cash flow multiple. when historically they should be trading at a 9, high single digits. And if you see those multiples going up, well, that's going to be fantastic. Now, all of this is probably known to most of the people watching this, but the real key here that I don't think the investing community understands is that all of this efficiency, all of this free cash flow gain, all of these buybacks have been happening during a low point in the oil cycle for Canada. We have seen a 10-ish year drop, let's say, in the Canadian oil space that is only just recovering to where it was in 2014. Now, there were boosts in 2022 where we saw the price of oil spike up, but really the long-term super cycle is starting now. And as investors, we have a huge opportunity because this time, not only are Canadian producers dramatically more efficient, but they are also in a much better position to sell more product to more markets. And when we see new pipes in the ground, when we see new production growth numbers that are just out of the park, when we see a reduction in let's say friction between Canada and the United States, when we see the first company that announces a crazy buyback, like an Apple level buyback, where we're talking billions of dollars and millions of shares being bought back, we are going to see share prices explode. I am not talking the run up we've seen in the last couple of years. I mean 10x level returns. When these commodities have their super cycles, when we see the big pendulum start swinging in our direction, markets move fast. And big money, Wall Street money, has been asleep. They have missed this story. And yes, they get some of it, but they've been so focused on the downsides, they don't understand that these companies have absolutely game-changing potential to bring cleaner energy. And I'm not talking green, right? This is not the end goal, but cleaner energy to so many markets that are growing so fast. Southeast Asia, India, Africa, even Europe, who needs more LNG not coming from the East, are going to be screaming out for new Canadian energy products. And we are going to be one of the lowest cost producers on the planet who can sell these products at a fantastic price all over the world. I really think that once we see this infrastructure boom, once we see the efficiency gains start to reflect in buybacks and in increased dividends, we're going to see this market absolutely explode. And I think investors today have the opportunity to take on just a little bit of risk, to buy now instead of waiting for prices to start running, because today is the best opportunity we're going to have. I sincerely believe we are going to see maybe a year, maybe 2 years before this market absolutely explodes. And once we do see some of these big changes that reflect the ability of the Canadian market to use their efficiency revolution to then spread its wings and really fly, it's going to be huge. It's going to be absolutely monumental. And that's why the next Canadian oil boom could mint millionaires. And I hope you are one of them, because this market would be absolutely game-changing to so many Canadian investors at a time we really do need a big win. And with all that being said, I want to thank you for watching this far in the video. If you made it this far, you're probably interested in this kind of stuff. And here on the channel, on Golden Larch Investing, we talk about it every week. Please do like the video and subscribe. Makes a huge difference. Doesn't cost anything. With all that being said, I hope I see you in the next video.